Hey guys, so I wanted to talk to you about some shows that I watched on Netflix that I think are worth sharing. I've watched a lot more, but honestly, if I talked about everything I watched, this video would be way too long. So I'm just going to pick a few that I feel you guys would enjoy if you have similar taste to me. And then I'm going to talk about the 4 books that I finished in the month of September called Mindhunters. This brings together true crime and fictional crime, which is perfect because my husband loves true crime and I'm more of a fictional crime kind of person. I don't mind watching things that are based on true stories, but you know, first 48 I can sit and watch it, but it's not like my go-to. You know, you get an idea of how profiling came to be, and it talks about real murderers and their cases and kind of what was their drive behind their actions. And it's pretty intense. Some of the stuff I'm like, wow, okay, that's crazy. And the last one, I am going to give you a trigger warning here. It's about sexual assault, so if you can't, you know, handle that kind of stuff, I'm going to put a little symbol up. I'll figure out what I'm going to put up, but I'll put something up to let you guys know that you can skip forward, so that way it doesn't affect you, because I really don't want to upset anybody. This one is called Unbelievable. It is about a young girl who has been through a lot. She ends up in the foster care system and she is sexually assaulted in her home. She calls for help, and unfortunately, because she didn't do things a certain way and there were holes in her story and there wasn't any evidence to be found, they didn't believe her and they basically called her a liar. And forced her to say that she made it all up for attention. I base those facts on those 3 things, plus the fact that she went through what she went through as a child, which made me so angry, because I'm like, you don't assume because a child has been through that they are going to make something like that up for attention. It just really made me angry, you guys. It really upset me that nobody believed this poor girl. Not even the people closest to her believed her. It broke my heart. But you basically go through this story. It is a true story. It really did happen to this girl, and I think that's what made it worse for me, is knowing that this was a true story. And it just made me even more furious. But you get her story, and then you get a few other women's stories that were also unfortunately sexually assaulted by this guy. We also went and saw 2 movies in theater this month. We saw Good Boys. This is about some adolescent boys who are on the brink of becoming preteens, and they're trying to adjust to all of the hormones that they have, and you know, they're teetering on that I still want to be a kid and play my, you know, Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. But I am also kind of interested in girls right now and what all that is. I'm not going to go too much into it because that's pretty much the gist of the whole movie, is boys kind of crossing that bridge. Yeah, it's rated R, so just keep that in mind if you're going to go watch the trailer. You probably shouldn't watch that around your kids. The next one that we saw was Hessler. This is about, again, rated R movie. It's about strippers who were making really good money in 2007. And then I believe in 2008, when the market crashed, that is when they weren't making enough money to support their lifestyle. And they were expected to do some things that they shouldn't be expected to do. So these group of women end up doing some things to make their money. And it was not legal things. They ended up getting caught, and you basically go through their story. It is based on a true story. These women actually exist. They actually did these things, and it's pretty crazy to see kind of what they did when they were faced with that. So, you guys, I'm going to show you what I have going on behind me. Hunter, what are you doing up there, bud? That's what I'm looking at, and he's completely distracting me. So hopefully you get the gist of that one. He's never done that before, but since the cats are up there, he feels the need to be up there too. Anyway, The last show that I want to talk to you guys about is on Amazon Prime. I just started it. I'm just getting into it, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But it's called Carnival Row, and it's about fairies. And it's that very magical, fantastical type of world where humans and fairies, they kind of come together, and the humans aren't liking the fairies, and they're against relationships between the two, and there's some sort of thing, some sort of creature who is killing off these fairies. It's interesting. Like, I'm really liking it so far, but like I said, I haven't finished it, so I really don't have a whole lot to tell you. I just wanted to give you a heads up that is what I'm watching. I am enjoying it, and if you like that fantastical, magical type of world, you're probably gonna like it too. Now let's move on to books. So, I really don't want to do this. You guys know I love Colleen Hoover. She is my favorite author, one of them. And what you doing, buddy? You're so silly. Anyway, she is one of my favorite authors, and why are you staring at me like that? You're distracting me. Oh, God, okay. She is one of my favorite authors, and I have pretty much loved everything that she has put out. I wasn't the biggest fan of Slammed. I still enjoyed it, but I wasn't, like, you know, super hyped about it. I don't recommend people start off with Slammed. I say if you like her other stuff, then go back to it. But for the most part, I haven't had anything that I'm like, no, don't read that from Colleen Hoover. Don't start with that. Until now. I picked up Without Merit. I got this for Christmas. I buy every Colleen Hoover book that comes out. I still need to get November 9th, and then December 10th, I think she comes out with Regretting You. I'm excited to read both of those. But if you're wanting to pick up a Colleen Hoover book, don't start with this one. I would not recommend it. This is the one book that I'm like, oh, no. This didn't do it for me. Oh, I don't even know how to explain it. It just, I felt like this one was kind of all over the place and was a little out there for me. I don't know. It's about this girl named Merritt. She has a twin sister and an older brother, and then they have a younger brother that's a half sibling. They all live in this church that is obviously no longer a church. They buy a church and create a house out of it. Their mother, who is mentally unstable, lives in the basement. Her father cheated on her mother, divorced her, but they still live in the same house with their stepmom, who had the younger brother. And then in comes a friend of her twin sisters, and another guy comes in. So there's all these people living in this house. Nobody gets along. Nobody communicates. Everybody seems to dislike or not want to be around Merritt. She seems to be depressed. And it's just this very all over the place kind of story. And honestly, how it ended, I was just kind of like, I just wasn't feeling this one, guys. So if you want to start with a Colleen Hoover, please don't pick this one up. She has so many other ones that are so good. This one I gave like 2.5, 3 stars. We're just gonna move on. I feel really bad about that because I love her to death, but there's not gonna be 100% with every author, and that one just was not for me. The next one that I grabbed that I enjoyed but wasn't what I was expecting. This is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstein. I always want to say that wrong. But it's about these two magicians who take on these two kids, and they bind them with a ring to train them in to doing duels and competing against each other when they're teenagers. So from a young age, like probably 5 years old, they're raised to be dueling magicians. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a circus. So they're performing. There's gonna be action-packed magic duels in this circus, right? That's what I thought. That's not the case. This is more like a game of chess where one magician makes a move in the circus, meaning they do some sort of a tent or a, I don't know, it's hard to explain, attraction. And then the other magician has to wait and see how to react to that. And they have to try to do one better. So for me, this was more like a game of chess rather than an action-packed magical fight in a circus, which is what I thought I was getting into. So the description, the synopsis didn't lie. It's just I took it a different way, and that's what I was wanting. But it's still good, guys. It's still good. And on the description, this is not a spoiler, they actually start to fall in love with each other, which completely ruins the whole duel, the whole game. It completely throws it off. So I did give this 3 stars just because it is good. It is worth reading, I think, if you like a game of chess style magic versus what I was wanting, which is action-packed magic, dueling, fighting. I think you'll like it. It just wasn't what I was hoping for. Now, this one I'm going to throw up another trigger warning. This one has domestic violence in it. This is by Kristen Hanna. It's called The Great Alone. It is about a 13-year-old girl named Lenny, and her father has just come back from war, and he is not the same man that he was before he left. His mother is just absolutely in love, makes excuses for him every time he puts his hands on her, and she just keeps saying that he's sick and he loves us, but he's sick and he's sick, and she keeps making excuses. He'll change, I promise he'll change. And for me, I related so much to Lenny and how she felt in that situation and how she felt towards her mother and how she felt like she had to protect her mother. And it just was really intense because this was like reading a snippet of my past, and it just really hit me hard reading this. But during all of this, you know, they're moving around a lot, and they end up inheriting some land from their dad's friend who unfortunately did not come back from the war. And it's in Alaska, and we all know that Alaska has longer winters. They're in the dark longer, and unfortunately that's the time when it's cold and it's dark out that his nightmares start up and he becomes more violent. So they're terrified to move to this place, and you watch Lenny grow up in this area. You see their world kind of change, and I cried at the end. I don't really want to tell you a whole lot because I feel like you really need to go into this with just that little bit of information. But I bawled my eyes out. I related so much to this, and it broke my heart. It really did break my heart. I do want to say too, though, that cancer is in this book, so if that's going to affect you in any way, you probably don't want to read it either. But it broke my heart. I think it broke my heart because I related so much to the story. The last book that I read actually comes out on October 22nd, and that is by 2 authors that go by the name Christina Lauren. They're 2 authors that come together and write some pretty good books. I enjoyed The Unhoneymooners by them, and I absolutely love their Beautiful series. If you're looking for something that's rated X, their Beautiful series is really good. I enjoyed them a long time ago. And then I did read is called Twice in a Blue Moon. Like I said, it does come out October 22nd, and this is about a girl named Tate. She is basically being hidden from the world because her father is a famous actor and her mom doesn't want anybody knowing who she is, so she has to keep a lot of secrets. She has to stay hidden. But on her 18th birthday, she and her nana go to London for a trip, and she meets this guy, Sam. They fall instantly in love, so if you like insta love, second chance romance, this might be right up your alley. They fall in love. They're 18. He's in his 20s, like 21, I think. And they just fall for each other. And then all of a sudden, Sam disappears and the media knows where she is and who she is. And then you flash 14 years in the future. Sam is a writer. He writes movies, scripts for movies. And Tate is a famous actress. And somehow Tate accepts the lead in one of his movies. And she didn't know. And then all of a sudden she gets there. And it's like all the things. And she can't stand him. She is so angry at his betrayal for what he did. And he thinks he did this great thing. I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as I have some other Christina Lauren books. I appreciate being able to read this, so I'm glad that Galley Books sent me a copy, and I have a hard time with Insta-Love. I do. Unless it's done right. Like, I can do it in, like, the rated X kind of things. No, not really. I'm kind of lying there. A lot of the books I kind of roll my eyes at that have Insta-Love. So I think that was my huge thing. It was kind of like the Insta-Love kind of made me a little meh about it. Oh guys, sometimes I just feel like I just don't do these justice. But anyway, if you're enjoying this, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave me comments down below on any shows you're enjoying, any books that you're enjoying. I have added some of your guys' recommendations to my wish list, though my wish list is a mile long, so hopefully I'll get to those soon. And I guess I will see you in the next one. Bye.